Have you ever wondered if each NBA team used a Pokemon as their mascot, what would that look like? Well, if you have, this is the perfect video for you. I don't want to waste too much time. Let's jump into it here. Welcome everyone to Utility Sports. Really excited for this video as we're going to kind of do something a little bit different, a little bit of fun here on the channel. And kind of mix two of my passions, the NBA and, well, Pokemon. I'm not that big into Pokemon. I don't know that much about it, but I loved it as a kid. So I thought this would be a little fun video that completely shakes things up here on the channel and quite a bit different from the, deep dive analysis we typically do. This is just a big time fun video, so I hope you guys do enjoy. Now, if you do enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more content. Hit that notification bell and comment down below what your favorite Pokemon is and also what your favorite Pokemon mascot was from this video. But let's jump into it with our introduction here. Where did I get some of the artwork? Well, all of the artwork, and it was from Vengeance Wood on Twitter, which, probably the biggest Christian Wood fan I've ever seen. Probably fires off 100 tweets a day about Christian Wood. Yes, I'm not joking. Their description there, their bio, #1 Christian Wood fan, is exactly correct. So very awesome account. I do follow them now after seeing their artwork. They created everything that you're seeing in this video, all of the art, the ideas, the ideology behind it all. I'm just sharing it with you guys, so make sure to go give them a follow. Link will be in the description for their Twitter account. I did get consent from them to make a video on this for you guys, so I'm very excited. Again, make sure to go show them some love for all the work that they poured into this. And let's jump into it with our first team, and it is the Atlanta Hawks. And I think this is going to be a lot of fun, and I think with a team like Atlanta, you could go a different number of ways with Pokemon. They went with Staraptor here, which, to be honest with you, a lot of nostalgia hits me. This was the very first thing you saw in the entire thread of their Twitter. Boy, this one brings me back. My very first Pokemon game was Pokemon Pearl, and of course, Route 1, or whatever the name of the route is, the very first route of the game, the first thing you catch is a Starly. And of course, I had Staraptor on my team. It just kind of brought me a lot of good nostalgia, and I just, seeing this, it just feels great. So let's take a look at what Staraptor looks like as the mascot for the Atlanta Hawks. And look at that, isn't that sweet? Atlanta Hawks fan, that's a pretty sweet mascot. Now, you could have gone a different number of ways with a bunch of different bird Pokemon. There's one in every single game, obviously. It's a big staple to the game franchise. But honestly, just Staraptor, what a choice. You can't go wrong with it. And let's see what it would look like next to Trae Young. Honestly, the designs here, again, from Vengeance Wood, just so good. Make sure to go show them some love. Also, show some love to this video by leaving a like. And let's jump into our next team, the Boston Celtics. Who are we going to see as the mascot Pokemon for the Celtics? Well, they chose the Pokemon Floette. Now, to be honest with you, I'm a little bit less big into Pokemon now. I have never used Floette in a Pokemon game. I don't really know too much about this Pokemon, but you'll notice it's holding a flower, and I think that the idea here behind this design and kind of shift into their mascot was phenomenal. Now it's holding a clover, and that's why it's such a perfect Pokemon choice to be the mascot for the Boston Celtics. There's not a lot of flower type Pokemon. There's not any real clover type Pokemon from my understanding. So this is such a great choice, Floette, for the Boston Celtics. Absolutely love that. And I really just think it pops as well. The color changes just look really, really good. And I think they chose a really great one. Let's see what Floette looks like next to Jason Tatum. And again, just kind of the perfect choice here. With kind of the basketball colored stem and then the, of course, Celtics green colored clover. It just looks really, really good and really crisp, so what a great choice. Again, let me know down in the comment section below which one of these Pokemon mascots are your favorite. And let's transition here into the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets, I think, were probably a hard team to kind of choose. There's not a net Pokemon. Maybe you could have gone, down the fishing route with, fishing nets, but that's not really what we're talking about with the Brooklyn Nets. And I actually really like the Pokemon he landed on, Grafaiai, which is a very new Pokemon, part of Generation 9, I believe, and it's the graffiti Pokemon, which makes this super clever. with the brand new design, matching the Brooklyn Nets colors, who again use graffiti style jerseys on occasion. I think a pretty smart connection there. I don't know where I would have gone with something like this if I was making the artwork myself. I'm not as creative as some other people. And of course, that's kind of why I wanted to feature this, is just showcasing someone's talents, and the amount of hard work that goes into something like this is just so cool. And I'm really excited to share that. So it's just a fantastic design, fantastic idea. And Grafaiai is the mascot for the Brooklyn Nets. Let's see what he looks like next to Mikal Bridges. Honestly, I think it looks sweet. Absolutely killed it. I think Grafaiai is such a cool little Pokemon. It's in the competitive scene a little bit from my understanding right now, so it's pretty neat. The Charlotte Hornets. Well, guess what Pokemon is going to show up here? You saw it in the thumbnail. Beedrill. Beedrill is the mascot, and let's see what it looks like in that Charlotte Hornets teal. And I think it looks really, really good. This is maybe the best one of the entire video, and I'm sure this was a big part of why he chose to do a series like this, is Beedrill is such an obvious choice for the Charlotte Hornets. Honestly, with the way that the Pokemon itself looks, it just matches perfectly, and of course it's because it's inspired by a real life bee or hornet or whatever you want to call it, right? It's just honestly such a great choice, and I just want to kind of commend the amount of work that goes into something like this. I know like color changes and stuff doesn't seem like a lot happens, like that's not a lot of work. I'm sure this took so much time. So again, make sure to go show him love over on Twitter. I really appreciate him letting me use his work in a video here. I hope you guys are enjoying this, because I'm having a lot of fun looking at these designs and kind of discussing them. Again, this is more of a fun topic. This isn't my normal basketball analysis, but during the season, it's a long year. Sometimes having some fun stuff like this mixed in is really nice. And let's see what Beedrill looks like next to LaMelo Ball, maybe the star backcourt combination of the future. Brandon Miller's playing great as well to start the year, so you love to see that, but Beedrill looks pretty darn sweet, I'm not gonna lie. The Chicago Bulls, and this one, again, one of the classics. Love to see it. Tauros, one of my all-time favorite Pokemon, is just the perfect choice here. Honestly, you could basically Photoshop the Bulls logo onto the head of a Tauros and it would fit perfectly, because it's a Bull Pokemon. It just looks so good. So let's check it out in that Bulls red and black, and there's not really a more iconic color combination in the NBA. Maybe you could argue the Lakers purple and gold. That's definitely right up there, but that signature Bulls red and black, we've seen it on Jordan shoes in the past, and it looks pretty darn good on Tauros as well. I think my favorite aspect of this design is just kind of the little bit of detail over there on the horns on the Tauros Pokemon itself, just kind of matching it to the Bulls logo. Just really good attention to detail, and I think this design looks really fantastic, and I think it's a really unique design. And just again, I'm just so excited about this, because it's a lot of fun, and especially some of these older Pokemon that I used to play in the video games with. It's kind of bringing back some fun nostalgia for me, and I hope you guys are enjoying it as well thus far. Let's take a look at Tauros next to Zach LaVine. That looks pretty darn good, right? Jumping into the Cleveland Cavaliers now, let's see who he chose for the Cavaliers. I think this would be a really tough choice. He went with Escavalier, which is a bug steel type Pokemon, I'm pretty sure. I have not used this Pokemon too much myself, but looking at the shaping of it, it looks pretty similar to the Cavaliers' new C-type logo, with pretty similar form shaping, and of course its name is Escavalier, so it makes it a pretty easy choice to represent the Cavaliers as a Pokemon, and kind of looks pretty neat with the Cavs colors applied to it. I think there's only so much you could do with a Pokemon like this in terms of making it look super sweet. It's not necessarily the type of Pokemon I would say looks awesome and would be something I'd want to use in the video games. But I think it's a cool Pokemon nonetheless. I'm pretty sure it's relatively strong competitively from what I know. Again, I'm not an expert here in that topic. I know way more about the NBA than I do about Pokemon. But the Escavalier, pretty cool choice here for the Cavs, for sure. And let's take a look at Escavalier next to Spida, Donovan Mitchell, and well, it's a pretty good Pokemon, and it looks pretty darn sweet next to the Cavs Star Guard. My Mavericks here, Dallas, of course, my favorite team. I love talking about them, but as you guys know, I love talking about the other 30 teams, or the other 29 teams. So I do have a lot of fun covering the league at large. Now, for my Mavs fans, make sure you guys do subscribe here, support another fellow Mavericks fan. And let's see, who did he choose to represent the Mavs as a Pokemon mascot? He went with Rapidash, which is a pretty good choice, right? You get a horse-type Pokemon. There's not actually a ton to choose from. There's some decent options out there. But I think Rapidash, the flames, kind of embody some of the similar designs we see in the Mavericks logo, specifically the silver mane and some of those key aspects that we see. And I love the design coloration here. He obviously incorporated some of the Mavericks light blue, the royal blue, as well as some of that dark navy blue that you see in some of their jerseys, especially like the City Edition jerseys this year. The Mavericks have utilized a variation of blues in the past, obviously some like electric type blues as well. On a few jerseys, but I think this one looks really good. One change I would have made is I would have made the horse a little bit lighter, a little bit closer to the true logo on the right side. Obviously that silver though, you do see that throughout the mane quite a bit, so I can't argue against it. It still looks pretty good. Love it as a logo design, and I think he did a great job with the Mavericks. Let's take a look at Rapidash next to Luka Doncic, and I think it looks quite good. Now the Denver Nuggets, reigning NBA champions. I got to watch them in person the other night. Nikola Jokic, man. I walked right beside him on the court. That guy is ginormous. Obviously you see the listings on how big he is. I don't think you really understand until you're about 3-4 feet away from him and you're like, oh my gosh, that guy seems like he's double my size, both height and weight wise. He just looks ginormous on the court, and he's a pleasure to watch as well in person. It's not my first time watching him in person, but that's the closest I've been to him in person. He's just he's such a joy. And he actually went with Gholdengo here for the Denver Nuggets, of course, kind of the Gold Rush basketball team. The Denver Nuggets, obviously they're named Golden Nuggets, right? There's a lot that kind of plays into it. And Gholdengo, a newer Pokemon in Gen 9, is all about gold and money and coins. So I thought that was a really good choice. And here's the redesign toward kind of those Nuggets colors. One thing I would have changed over here on the left where that little button is on his sash, I would have made that specifically the Nuggets logo. I would have tried to fit that in there. But otherwise, I mean, this is a pretty unique design. Gholdengo's a very interesting Pokemon. And I do like kind of the design we see here in this one. So let's see Gholdengo next to Nikola Jokic. And to be honest, this is about how big I felt next to Nikola Jokic just the other day, because he was towering over me, honestly. The Detroit Pistons, obviously, known for the automobile industry, especially there in Detroit. And I think, a Pokemon like Revavroom is a great choice. The engine Pokemon. You can't really get better than that for the Detroit Pistons. And the colorway he went with is closer to the Grant Hill era of Pistons basketball. Kind of going with those old teal jerseys, and I think this is a very good design. So I want to take a look at it next to that other logo, and I think it looks really perfect. Again, kind of looking at the logo there on Jaden Ivey's jersey and the image on the screen right now, I mean, Revavroom was the perfect pick. He couldn't have picked a better Pokemon for this team mascot, and honestly, it just it works so perfectly. It really, really does. The next one, we have the Golden State Warriors, which excites me here as well, because I was wondering, who was he going to pick for a team like Golden State, where it's a little bit more obscure. Obviously, the team name Warriors, but you don't see a Warrior pictured on their logo, so I wonder which way is he going to go. He went with the Pokemon Falinks, which comes from, obviously, the word Phalanx, which is a formation for Warriors fighters. And this is perfect, because with the color redesign on this Pokemon, I think it embodies the team very, very well. You, of course, get that signature blue and yellow look that Golden State has been rocking recently, but there's also a little bit of homage to the old Warriors logo with the orange around the eyes of the Phalanx Pokemon on here. I think it looks really great. Honestly, just a really good choice, a really good design here for this one, and it's an exciting one. Let's see what Phalanx looks like next to Steph Curry, and honestly, pretty fun mascot. Obviously, play on words with Phalanx there, the Pokemon company. I thought that was a really genius design by them, and I think he did a great job incorporating it into the Warriors logo. the Houston Rockets. And this one, you know, I wasn't exactly sure. I actually dressed up as Team Rocket with my girlfriend for Halloween. Had a lot of fun with her. We had a great night. So I'm very interested. Did he go with something Team Rocket related? What was really his choice? And he went with Golurk. And at first this kind of shocked me. I didn't really know what to kind of make of this. I don't really know too much about Golurk, but according to him, Golurk has a rocket form. And I mean, look at how sick this is. Right, he kind of got the little rocket trail fire coming out the bottom. This looks pretty sweet, rocking that rocket red. I think this looks really, really good. Perhaps one of my favorite designs, just with how the whole flame collection at the bottom looks. I was just really impressed by it. The Rockets have a sweet spot in my heart. I loved Tracy McGrady growing up. James Harden's one of my favorite players of all time. Ahmed Thompson was my probable favorite prospect or second favorite prospect in this last draft class. So I've had a lot of fun with Rockets basketball over the years, and Golurk, I think, is a pretty fun choice for them as well. Let's take a look at Golurk next to Jalen Green for the Houston Rockets. The Indiana Pacers. Now, I know I've got a lot of Pacers fans on the channel. Shout out to Zach. Shout out to Azrael PC from the Discord. Now, if you guys are not in the Discord yet, make sure to go join in there. We have some awesome moderators. Zach and Azrael PC are a couple of them. I would love to have you guys in there. Links in the description. Make sure to go join the Discord. We have a lot of fun NBA discussion all the time. We talk about college basketball prospects. We talk about NBA teams, NBA players. We have daily pick'em. A lot of great stuff, great events going on all the time. You guys have to be a part of it. Go join in there. Let them know which video you came from. So tell them, hey, look, we came from the Pokemon video. You're going to get a really warm welcome over there because there's a lot of great people who love basketball in our community. But for the Pacers, he went with Cyclizar, which I think is a really great choice. Obviously, the Indy 500 is such a big part of Pacers kind of culture and Indiana culture in general, I would say. And Cyclizar, of course, kind of, a racing-themed dragon Pokemon. It's a very unique Pokemon. In Generation 9, they incorporated a lot of new things with their kind of legendary, box art Pokemon and some of those kinds of things. I think Cyclizar is an interesting choice here, just with kind of the theme there as a racer. And I think the color rebrand to Pacers colors, I mean, nothing really works. Yellow and blue, I talked about with the Warriors. I think the Pacers just pull it off so well. That dark, like navy-ish blue, just honestly looks so good. And I think the color rebrand here looks so awesome as well on Cyclizar. I'm sure I could see it now. Cyclizar flying up the court and Tyrese Halliburton hitting it. It's honestly, with the way the team plays too, such a great choice because they get up and down and transition so fast. And I mean, they're just going to be a blur all season long. You guys know in my season preview for them, I highlighted how much of a transition team this team's going to be and how good they're going to be. Cyclizar just feels like a transition type of Pokemon. So let's transition into our next team, the Los Angeles Clippers here now. And have they made some stirs in the last week or so? Traded for James Harden. Questions are, will Russell Westbrook start, come off the bench? What's that going to look like? They have PJ Tucker now. I mean, this whole team, they sent out more draft assets. They are in the news constantly. The Clippers have been a mainstay organization in the media since landing Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And let's see who he chose here. I love this choice. He chose the Pokemon Dhelmise, an anchor Pokemon. And for those of you who do not know, Clippers are actually a type of boat, which means if you have an anchor Pokemon, that is fantastic in terms of kind of pulling the whole concept together, I think. And there he is in Clippers colorway. It honestly, I think, looks pretty darn good. Doesn't give off that kind of same old eerie vibe that the Pokemon company was going with Dhelmise, but I think if you're branding it to the team, I think it still does look pretty darn good as an anchor and kind of a mainstay there with Clippers basketball. I would love to see the NBA and Pokemon actually collaborate on something in some way. I'm sure there could be some fun thing that they do work out at some point down the road. Who knows? But I think right now, this type of video is a fun way to at least highlight some of the things that the NBA could look into doing in a Pokemon collaboration, as Dhelmise and Kawhi Leonard are holding it down on the graphic right now. We'll see, maybe James Harden can get in on this too. The Lakers. Who are you going to go with the Lakers? And this is a tough question because, well, the name Lakers doesn't really make any sense in Los Angeles other than the fact that it has alliteration because, of course, this team is formerly from Minneapolis and Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes. The Lakers doesn't really make sense in Los Angeles. There's not a lot of lakes. But if you're going to stick with the name, which they should, you've got Gyarados, who famously in the game is from Lake of Rage, so there's obviously that game connection between the Lakers and then Gyarados, which makes it a really good kind of mascot for the team. Obviously, it does look quite menacing, especially in that purple and gold, which I highlighted earlier as one of the most prominent colors in NBA basketball. The purple and gold, it's synonymous with Lakers basketball, and honestly, I think the design looks pretty darn good here. Gyarados is, you know, a lot of people's favorite Pokemon, and for good reason. It looks absolutely sweet, and I think it looks really cool here as well in this colorway. There's Gyarados next to LeBron James, and let's jump over to the Grizzlies. And you know, obviously you're going to choose some type of bear here, right? Well, he went with Ursaring, and I think Ursaring is a really good choice because of the way the body is set up, and I honestly think it looks really, really good. I honestly almost would say better than the typical design with the Grizzlies colorway in there. I think the utilization of the dark and light blue came across really well in this. The yellow, I think, really pops as well. So honestly, just a really great design. Ursaring was a fantastic choice for the Memphis Grizzlies, and I think right next to John Morant, once Morant's back from suspension, would be a really great mascot, honestly, for the team. Again, if Pokemon and the NBA were to collab at some point, this is a really, really great design. The Miami Heat, now let's talk about them, and Magmortar is probably the best choice you could have. There's really nothing else that screams Miami Heat and you know, just flames flying around than Magmortar, who literally shoots flames out of its arms. That's just a fantastic choice, and not much of a rebrand here for the Pokemon, as most fire Pokemon are already red. Just slap on that Heat colorway. I think it looks quite good. Pretty good choice as well for this option, especially next to Jimmy Butler. I hope I hope you guys are enjoying. Again, this is just meant to be a lot of fun. I'm having fun looking at these. It's a completely different style video than what I'm used to posting, but you know, I'm having fun looking at it. I hope you guys are as well. And let's transition into the Milwaukee Bucks. And again, it's not really that crazy. Some of these team names, especially when they're linked to an animal, create pretty easy connections with the Pokemon series. And the Pokemon Sawsbuck is perfect for this type of video. Milwaukee Bucks, Sawsbuck. This is just great. This is a perfect combination here, and with that Milwaukee Bucks colorway on there, Sawsbuck looks absolutely wicked. I do actually think it looks really, really, really good. And next to Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's an absolute freak of nature, you get a nature type Pokemon in there. I mean, pretty sweet, honestly. Again, just really want to credit the original artist. A lot of really good work into this, and kind of just fun ideas, fun designs for these Pokemon. The Minnesota Timberwolves, he actually came up with two different options. Well, not technically, but Lycanroc has two forms, so you won't see it until we get to that final graphic of the three. But Lycanroc in Minnesota Timberwolves colorway looks pretty darn sweet, I'm not going to lie. Kind of perfect usage of that green eyelid or green eye ball there in Lycanroc, and honestly, I think the Timberwolves colors just apply so well onto the Pokemon. If the Pokemon company came out and released Lycanroc looking like this, I think this would be a lot of people's favorite Pokemon. This thing looks wicked. It's just super, super sweet, and there's kind of that second form, the Midnight form, kind of with homage to the old Timberwolves logos, with obviously the pine trees. You get some of that green in there. And Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns rocking out to these Lycanroc forms in great fashion. I honestly think this just killed it. This is one of my favorite designs in the entire video. I think did a really great job. For those of you who do not know, I'm actually reporting on the Minnesota Timberwolves now as well. So I'm very close around this team. I talked to Chris Finch a little bit, asked him questions pregame, postgame, that kind of stuff. So it's pretty neat seeing this, especially now with my proximity to the Minnesota Timberwolves. The New Orleans Pelicans. We'll look at the Pelicans, but I want you to guess right now, before I even click, this one should be super obvious. Who do you see being the Pokemon mascot for the New Orleans Pelicans? I'm going to give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Pelipper. I think, honestly, you couldn't have made it a better option, right? You literally have a Pelican-type Pokemon to choose from in Pelipper, and I'm going to tell you right now, with the Pelicans colorway, it looks sweet. The kind of rebrand into the matching colorway of what we typically see. Also, I want to shout out the Pelicans logo with the skeleton, which you actually see kind of in the new in-season tournament court design. People weren't a big fan of it. I can't blame people for that. The court is very wild, but the Pelicans have some cool stuff going on with their logo, their colors, some of that stuff. So a real testament to that organization. And honestly, I think Pelipper just perfectly embodies what this was meant to look like, and it just honestly looks so good. The New York Knicks, and this is actually a Pokemon I don't know. I think it's Archaludon. I think it's supposed to be maybe an evolution of Duraludon or something. Essentially, this is a skyscraper dragon Pokemon. And for the New York Knicks, I mean, New York City, 8 million plus residents. The first thing you think of when you think New York City is skyscrapers. And that's exactly why he went with this design. And I think it's a great choice. And it's a really subtle change. It's kind of just highlighting the orange into New York Knicks orange, and obviously the blue got a little bit of an update as well to better match the jerseys. But I think this honestly looks just so good. And next to Jalen Brunson, this is a kind of menacing Pokemon, honestly, and was just a fantastic choice overall. The Oklahoma City Thunder. This one is fun as well. So obviously people are going to immediately think, a bunch of different Pokemon. Now, I don't know if I would have chosen the Pokemon he went with. I would have probably chosen Thundurus because Thunder is in the name. And of course, kind of electric type Pokemon. But he went with a classic in Raichu, one of the most prevalent Pokemon. Didn't go with Pikachu because he wanted to show Raichu some love as well. And I respect the hustle, I honestly do. And Raichu with Thunder colors looks pretty cute, I'm not going to lie. Probably not the most menacing mascot on this list. Maybe something like Tauros takes the cake there, but I think that Thunder Raichu is pretty darn adorable, honestly, and I might want a plushie of it because it's just just look at it. It's pretty cute Pokemon there on the left, and next to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who is now the face of NBA underwear recently because of their partnership with Skims, I guess. This is an interesting dynamic duo here, Raichu and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and to be honest, this video started weird. Talking about a Christian Wood fan, and all of a sudden this far in I'm talking about Skims and Raichu and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being a dynamic duo, things I never thought I'd say in the year 2023. The Orlando Magic. Here we are with, I think, a pretty obvious choice. These words are literally synonymous with magic. That is Alakazam. Of course, kind of that typical little spell of, kind of like you're almost watching Harry Potter, right? Alakazam, perfect Pokemon, psychic type, just honestly embodies the entire magic theme of Pokemon. And looks pretty darn sweet with the magic colorway attached. Obviously, the spoons fit well with that nice magic silver color. And then you kind of get that interchanged yellowish color substituted for the magic blue and black in there. And Alakazam looks pretty wicked like this, I'm not going to lie. Let's check him next to Paulo Banchero. I think pretty fun little mascot if you ask me. Now the Philadelphia 76ers, this one was another really great choice and one that maybe I wouldn't have thought of. Of course, a big part of Philadelphia is the Liberty Bell. So of course he went with a Bell Pokemon in Bronzong. And I think with the colorway here, Bronzong looks pretty darn cool as well. Kind of that, Sixers blue, red, and white theme. Just does a lot of justice to the Pokemon. I think it looks quite good, especially when you're following that Liberty Bell theme. Probably hard to come up with something better than this for the 76ers, honestly, and I think this is kind of a testament to the creativity we saw in the artwork. And the Phoenix Suns, this is, I've talked, I feel like I keep saying a lot of these are my favorite because I just love all of the designs, honestly, but this one's probably the best. The word sun in Spanish is sol, and Solrock is a sun Pokemon, obviously a sun rock. And, you know, honestly, I never really got behind this Pokemon too much, especially when I was playing some of the games, especially as a kid. Never really loved Solrock, but what he did with the artwork here on the mascot version is incredible. Kind of a gradient vibe with a two-tone coloring that's pretty similar to the Suns' newer jerseys, you know, kind of the Valley designs that we've seen from them. And this Solrock kind of edit just does a lot of justice to it. It matches the logo extremely well. This is a perfect Pokemon mascot, if you ask me. One of the best designs, one of the best ideas, and honestly, just combinations that we've seen throughout this entire video so far. I just think that Solrock was the literal perfect choice for this type of collab and kind of effort that he put in. So a lot of credit to him there for the creativity. And then we get into the Portland Trailblazers. And this one, to be honest, I'm not exactly sure. For him, kind of what he was going with, Trail is kind of like grass type, and then Blazers is kind of a fire type. So he went with, I think it's Scovillain is the name of the Pokemon. I'm not too familiar with this one. It's a grass fire type. So obviously trying to be creative. I believe these are 2 bell peppers, which is kind of why the grass fire type makes sense for the Pokemon itself. This one's maybe a little bit of a stretch, but with the Trailblazers colorway kind of thrown on there, it does look pretty cool, I do have to admit. I'm not sure if I'm fully on board with this design or not. I think it's one of the little bit more out there designs, but it is fun nonetheless. So if you're a Blazers fan, let me know down below what Pokemon maybe you would have chosen instead of Scovillain. But I think this, you know, interesting design nonetheless. With the Sacramento Kings now, we look at a Pokemon here in Kingambit. And of course, the Kings coming off their best season in a long time. Well, Kingambit's a relatively new Pokemon as well, introduced in Generation 9. I think that's perfect, just with how well the Kings played within the last 12 months. A brand new Pokemon does a lot of justice to that, kind of paying homage to their recent success. And I think just, you know, with the word King in the name, it's a really strong, powerful Pokemon. It's a great choice to represent them, and I think it looks really sweet with King's Purple on there as well. The, you know, Silver Blade, which is a big part of the King's colorway as well, I think looks absolutely dynamic and fantastic. So really fun design here too, and one that I think with De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis looks, you know, pretty menacing, I'm not gonna lie. The San Antonio Spurs, this design a little weird, right? You got Ferrothorn here. And I think what he was kind of going for is, you know, Spurs are kind of, you know, spiky metal objects. He went with a spiky metal Pokemon in Ferrothorn, which is a steel grass type. For me, I'm going to take it a little bit of a step further. Ferrothorn's really defensive, and I think the Spurs over the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years are going to grow into perhaps the best defensive team in the NBA with guys like Victor Wembanyama, Jeremy Sohan, Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell. They've got a lot of defensive-minded players, guys who can defend at an extremely high level. Sohan is extremely versatile. We've seen him guard guys like Devin Booker while also being able to switch onto centers on occasion and other power forwards. And I think just brings a lot of defensive versatility, which we already know Victor Wembanyama, at 7'4", they have him guarding Kevin Durant. I was talking with my buddy off camera, and I told him, like, look, imagine Rudy Gobert being 3 inches taller, having him go guard Kevin Durant out in space, and then also having him bring up the ball in transition. That's how crazy Victor Wembanyama is as a rookie. And I think Ferrothorn does look pretty darn sweet with Spurs colors. Obviously a slight change, not too much of a change to its overall look, but I think it does look quite good, especially next to Victor Wembanyama, who, I mean, Victor Wembanyama just, man, how good is that guy? Coming off of a night where he puts up 38 points, 10 rebounds, just single-handedly crushed the Phoenix Suns at certain points in that game. Obviously, the rest of the team made some plays around him too, but anytime you can get nearly 40 points from a rookie, it's probably a sign that that guy's going to be pretty special. I've been saying that for over a year on the channel. Wembanyama, just, I hope you guys are enjoying his greatness so far. Spurs fans, if you are, make sure to leave a like. Subscribe for more content, because I'm going to promise I'll talk way more about Victor Wembanyama in pretty much every single future video, because I just love watching that guy play basketball. The Toronto Raptors, pretty easy choice. You know, the Raptors, go with Tyrantrum, a dinosaur type Pokemon. This is literally just a perfect pairing. And I think Tyrantrum with kind of the brighter red and some of those OVO colors that we've seen the Raptors rock over the year, the gold and the black specifically, Tyrantrum looks pretty menacing, and honestly I think it is a pretty good upgrade to the overall look of the Pokemon as well. And well, next to Pascal Siakam, who knows how long he'll be a member of the Toronto Raptors, but at the end of the day, this is a sweet Pokemon, sweet mascot for the Raptors. Again, man, I'm just kind of petitioning here for not only the Raptors but for the NBA to work out some type of partnership with Pokemon, because some of these designs are just sweet. The Utah Jazz, another kind of difficult one, but I think this was a really great pull from Vengeance Wood with what he came up with. Used a Pokemon that I liked a lot as a kid, especially with my Nintendo DS. You could record a little message and, say it into your DS microphone, and Chatot would repeat it back to you. That's a pretty sweet little in-game gimmick. Well, Chatot, as you can tell, is kind of the music note Pokemon. Look at its, head shaping. It literally makes the Utah Jazz logo right up there. And I think it looks really good with the Utah Jazz colorway on there, especially the purple, light blue, kind of some of those mountain type vibes that Utah's used in the past for some of their designs. It just looks remarkably good, and I think this was one of my favorite designs as well. You don't really think about the Pokemon Chatot too much, and to see it applied so well in something like this is just really unique and creative again. And I just love seeing the creativity like this. And we're here to our final NBA team already. We've gone through all 30 teams now, and this is maybe my favorite. Saved one of my favorites for last. Of course, we've gone alphabetically by city, but this is just a fantastic design and just honestly so well executed. For the Washington Wizards, he used the Pokemon Mismagius, which is a pretty sweet Pokemon in general. Obviously, kind of love the colorway, the look of it. I think a really sleek Pokemon, but it really pops with the Wizards colorway. I'm not going to lie, this might be my actual favorite design out of all of them. I love so many of the designs in here, but this one just, Mismagius was already a sweet Pokemon. This kind of takes it to the next level, if you ask me, and I think it just looks really, really darn good. Especially next to Kyle Kuzma. Now, listen, Jordan Poole's had his ups and downs this year. I think Mismagius would be a really nice, calm contributor and pretty consistent there in Washington. But I mean, it's a menacing Pokemon, but it's pretty darn sweet, especially in that Wizards, kind of bright blue and red colorway combination. It's pretty darn sweet, I'm not gonna lie. Make sure to comment your guys' favorite combination down below. Which mascot did you love the most? Which ones do you think should have been changed? What Pokemon should have been applied to which teams? Let me know down in the comment section. Don't forget to go show Vengeance Wood some love on Twitter. Links in the description. Go give him a follow. Go give us a follow on Twitter. Go join our Discord. Go do all of those important things. And then also, lastly, do not forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and check out some of those other videos. You're going to see them on the screen right now. Go give some of those a view. There's a lot of great stuff to watch. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Again, leave a like, subscribe if you did, and we'll catch you in the very next Utility Sports video.